Hey, welcome. I'm going to put a small series together here called, we'll just call it the 91 Super Jag project. And really what we're going to do is we're going to be looking as I try to attempt to restore 1991 Arctic Cat Super Jag. Welcome to my second installment on the Jag series. This particular installment covers a lot of work that I did, and unfortunately I don't have a lot of video for it. The big issue with this machine originally was the fuel system, and changing the needle and seat did solve a lot of the carb issues. I did put another good cleaning, but we took it out for a run after, and it died on us. It completely just, after I'd done all the fuel lines, I rebuilt the fuel pump, and it died. And so I was really perplexed at why it stopped working. But obviously, with these engines, they're pretty straightforward. It's fuel, spark, or ignition. Fuel, spark, air. As long as it has those three, it's going to combust. So it was a fuel issue, and it continued to be a fuel issue because there was spark, there was good compression. So I brought it back home, pulled it out of Birds Hill, drove it all, I had to drag it back with the other machine, and I pulled it in here, and I started going through it right back from started the cylinder and worked my way back. Carb was re-cleaned. The fuel pump, I rebuilt the fuel pump, put a new gasket set in it, and worked my way back. It wasn't until I pulled out the fuel tank that I realized that the fuel filter that was inside this tank was completely clogged. One of the things when I got this and I redid all the fuel lines that I did not do was flush out the fuel tank. So taking the fuel tank off and cleaning it and completely flushing it, I had to flush it out 2 or 3 times. I emptied a bucket of bolts and nuts in it and washed them around in there to help kind of rinse everything off, and then numerous flushes with water and hot water to try to get it clean. And then putting the spigot back in, put the shut-off valve back in, and I had to go and get some specific thread sealant for it and let it cure because it would leak around it. And part of the issue in the fuel line I would find is once I would start the machine up and I would let it run and then I would stop it, I would come back later and the fuel lines would be completely empty of gas. The gas would just vanish, and that doesn't happen on the Polaris. So I knew there was a leak somewhere in the lines, that it wasn't holding fuel, and that the fuel pump was not sucking the right amount of fuel in. So again, another replacement of the fuel lines, because after I did that, getting ahead of myself here, after I did that, I had it running, I drove it out in the driveway, let it run for a few, it died. And so I had to haul it back in here. We were getting pretty close to the end of the season in 2020 at that point, and I just figured, well, you know what, I'm just going to leave it, I'll work on it later. We had a very short season last year. Golf season came early, and I like to golf, so I was on the links starting in April and through till October. But in September, in early October, I dragged this back out. I bought a new fuel pump. I don't know what was wrong with the old, whether there was a crack that I couldn't see in the old fuel pump or whatever. Took the gaskets out that I used to rebuild it, put them in a Ziploc bag. My fuel gaskets for the little square Mikuni that's in there. So I put them in a bag and I've kept them off to the side because I'll probably need to rebuild it one day, and I've got perfectly good gaskets there. So, but I just bought a new fuel pump and put a new fuel pump in here, replaced the primer lines, replaced the main fuel lines, and you know what? It's working. It holds fuel in it. The lines don't, it doesn't lose the fuel over the period of time. So that was running well. But prior to that, about October 2020, I took the seat in to an upholsterer here in town, in Starbuck actually, they're a TCS Upholstery. And she fixed the seat up. She said it's a little bit of a difficult seat to do. It was one of her harder jobs to do. There's a zipper underneath this seat that she had to, like, so the cover wraps all the way around, and then there's a zipper down the center, and she put new snaps in, had to mount some new snaps into the tunnel for it. Really thrilled with the job she did. She did a really, really good job, and I'm very happy with it. It matches, the color matches the original, and it keeps the striping going the way it is. I'm quite happy with it. I also ordered a window for the machine, and the old one was cracked and it was hard to see through, so I ordered a window and I replaced that. That came rolled up from I think the window came from Revco, and then I bought well nuts. They attach using these little rubber well nuts that I picked up from Royal Distributing, so I got those ordered in. So that covered most of the cosmetic. The other part of the hood, I gave it a good polish. Eventually going to have to probably work at either taking it in to get fiberglass fixed, because there is some rash on the side of it. Get the gel coat repainted because there's some cracking in it. But to do that, one of the problems with it is the decals. I have looked around on eBay to see if I can find Super Jag decals. I can't find the Super Jag decals. So until I can either get somebody to scan the decals off of this so that they can make new ones to be applied, I'm going to be a little reluctant to do the fiberglass work on this until such time as I know I can replace the decals. I know the pin striping on the side has to be redone on the front, and that can be done. I've seen the pin striping kit for sale. You know, so I'll look for that on eBay. I guess in a pinch I could paint it, but that's what that needs. One of the things I also wanted to make sure to mention is the old fuel tank that was here had a lever that would measure the fuel within this window, but it was cracked and I could not find a replacement for that. I can find a replacement for the float, but not for the piece of plastic that was broken here. So I took the original fuel cap, moved it over to here, and then just got one of these normal float fuel ones to put into this tank. One of the other things I also did was added the heated visor plug right here, and it just sticks out. It's not as fancy and as flush as some of the ones that I've mounted on these, like on the Polaris here, but this one does the trick. Done. So not a whole lot of an update on this particular episode for you. Those are some of the cosmetic things that I've done on this. I guess the next episode after this one will be the skis, in fixing up the skis, which I've completed that, and I've completed a redo of the skid. Machine's running really good, and I'll leave you with some footage of first run after I put the skid back in. On Birds Hill, we went out to the night. It was a cold, cold night, and went for a little rip, and I'll let you check out that video now. Thanks for checking back on the Super Jag project. So at least I got four episodes of this anyways, coming up your way, and this is the second one. Thanks for watching.